When I cast my mind back to that summer of 1936, different kinds of memories offered themselves to me.
Music. Rose and Agnes enter the hallway. Maggie enters through the back of the house, the bucket. Kate enters upstage left. Chris enters through the hallway. Outside to find Michael. Sit on the garden bench. Good. And go.
We got our first wireless set that summer. Well, a sort of set, and it obsessed us. And because it arrived as August was about to begin, my Aunt Maggie, she was the joker of the family, she suggested that we give it a name. She wanted to call it Lugh, after the old Celtic god of the harvest, because in the old days, August the 1st was Lughnasa, the feast day for the pagan god Lugh, and the days and weeks of harvesting that followed were called the Festival of Lughnasa. But Aunt Kate, she was a national school teacher and a very proper woman. She said that it would be sinful to christen an inanimate object with any kind of name, not to talk of a pagan god. So we just called it Marconi because that was the name emblazoned on the set. And about 3 weeks before we got that virus, my mother's brother, my Uncle Jack, came home from Africa for the first time.
For 25 years.
For 25 years, he worked in a leper colony there in a remote village called Rwanda in Uganda. The only time he ever left that village was for about 6 months during World War I, when he was chaplain to the British Army in East Africa. Then it was back to that grim hospice where he worked without a break for a further 18 years. Now, in his early 50s, and in bad health, he had come home to Baalbek, as it turned out, to die.
And Jack exits.
And when I cast my mind back to that summer of 1936, those two memories of our first wireless and of Father Jack's return are always linked. So that when I recall my first shock at Father Jack's appearance, shrunken and jaundiced with malaria, at the same time I remember my first delight, indeed my first awe at the sheer magic of that radio. And when I remember the kitchen throbbing with the beat of Irish dance music, beamed to us all the way from Athlone, my mother and her sisters catching hands and dancing a spontaneous step dance and laughing, screaming like excited schoolgirls. At the same time, I see that forlorn figure of Father Jack shuffling from room to room as if he was searching for something, but couldn't remember what. And even though I was a child of only 7 at the time, I know I had a sense of unease, some growing awareness of a widening breach between what seemed to be and what was, of things changing too quickly before my eyes, of becoming what they ought not to be. That may have been because Father Jack hadn't turned out at all like the resplendent figure I had in my head. Or maybe it was because I had witnessed Marconi's voodoo derange those kind, sensible women into shrieking strangers. Or maybe it was because during those Lughnasa weeks of 1936, we were visited on 2 occasions by my father, Jerry Evans. And for the first time in my life, I had the chance to observe him